Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
I know it's probably almost afternoon. Might even be evening where you live. We're
What?
not sure.
Oh,
I know.
yeah, that could
This
happen.
is a global social platform. Tea time with Chris and Angela.
We're so excited that you're here, that you're watching, that you think this is as much fun as we do, because let me tell you, we think this is fun.
I know I woke up and I was showering. I'm like, what if we just did like our video in our freshly bathed attire?
Here we are. There ain't no shame in our game. None. Absolutely no shame in the game whatsoever.
Because that's kind of entertaining. Like, who does that? All the videos I've seen, I don't know.
You better pull that shit together before you hit the button.
I know, right? Put your makeup on.
Yeah. So here we are.
I did brush my teeth, though.
Well, you know, although we're not lovers, we're very close together when we make these videos. We might not have mentioned we live on opposite sides of the hippie compound, so I did brush my teeth in order to not be offensive to those who are local. But you know what the cool thing is? That we can have fun with this.
Local, I love it.
That we can have fun with this, and that we're never victims to this or anything else.
I don't know.
Life.
Sometimes I do love the as you coined, the victim power. I mean, that's
when we
kinda
know we're
juicy,
firmly
right?
seated in our victimhood and we are so powerful in our victimhood. I like to call that victim power.
I know.
Yeah. When you're aware and you don't give a fuck and you're gonna do it anyway.
And then when we're not aware, what is that? What is that?
Ooh, yeah. That's no fun.
I know.
That's a little painful.
So, Chris and I sometimes work with people in this arena, and we hear a lot of different comments about people not wanting to go to the past, right? Like, oh, that's a part of my victim or story that lives in the past. I don't want to rehash that. Or when they do feel like they're going down that, then they get stuck or sucked into the victim. So they're not really actually coming into true empowerment. So we were like, why not do a call around this?
I love that. And I can only share when I share my experience. And so I held on tight to that. I knew I had no memories before the age of 10 at all. None. I took psychology classes for fun in grad school and child psychology classes. And I knew that wasn't a good sign. But when I was searching for a therapist back in the day, I told 5 therapists, no memories before the age of 10 at all. Not one thought that was a problem. And I knew that that was a problem.
I do kind of feel like the mental health world seems to like not make a big deal about suppressed memories. Yeah, because there was a friend of mine that she tried to even look for professionals to support the claim that we are powerful at suppressing memories and locking that away, and she couldn't like it's like no one in the professional world is giving that the airtime it deserves.
And I love that. And thank you for saying that. And from your initial question about going back and into that our victimhood of our childhood, and in my experience is that in order to be fully empowered, I need to go back and empower myself in my childhood.
And this is if you remember, right? So many of us, including myself, like remembered only a little bit until I got to a particular place on my soul path where my soul was like, this is what you said a couple years ago, that you were going to go all in, or that you committed to myself, right? Because self-commitment is everything, or self-empowerment, because I can't commit to anything out here, and no one can commit to me if I'm not doing that for myself first, right? The inner matching the outer. And so I feel like we'll remember when we're ready to remember, but a lot of times also being encouraged, or kind of like, I don't know, the word prod kind of is coming, and maybe this video is that, right? Our energy kind of does that. It's like a little prodding, like, let's go, let's remember.
It's a big deal. I mean, I remember asking Spirit, please make all that is unconscious in me conscious. I had no idea what I was asking. I just knew I wanted a better life. And so what then came as a result was being fully bathed in the light and making love to my anger, shame, fear, and sadness, and going back to all those pieces and parts. Yeah, they were victims, but taking back my power.
And so we talk about empowerment or power a lot, and I feel like even for me, like as I've gone on my path, I didn't necessarily fully really understand what that meant, you know, and I'm still like really coming into my own sense of alignment or power with spirit and my own, I don't know, my own heart. And so when Chris was talking about, like, she had asked to make what was unconscious, I asked for all the walls around my heart to be removed. So first I asked to see them, and I was gifted with seeing them. But then, you know, what do we have to do? Well, it's my responsibility. I built them to dissolve them in love. Right. And so many, many years I would come at walls like almost like a sledgehammer. And I kind of feel like sometimes people still have that way or that view, or to me, it's like a patriarchal power over. Like I'm trying to beat up myself on the inside, which is horrific. That's just more self-abuse. That's more of the victim being victimized.
And I love that you said that, because if we don't go back to our childhood and take back our power, the walls stay. The walls stay for many, many, many lifetimes.
No amount of medicine takes your walls down if you aren't ready to empower yourself and take them down. So yes, medicine absolutely can help us take them down when we're ready, right? And a lot of times we might not even be conscious. We're like, oh, yep, this one's going to dissolve now. I'm ready. I feel like what we're being shown on the planet is we're being invited to be aware and conscious and say yes, and to take them down. And the outside world and structures are going to continue to crumble because the inside walls and structures are crumbling.
Yeah, it's magic. Pardon me. And the walls that we created in childhood because if we're 110% real, we didn't feel safe. We didn't feel loved. Our soul knows the difference between what has been normalized on this planet as love, which is oftentimes abuse, and what is actually pure, unconditional, safe, and connected love. So in order for us to go through the process to gently, gracefully, peacefully take down the walls, we have got to be in a place where we are safe. We cannot heal in the same environment where we got sick. It is impossible to be in defensive mode all day, every day, and take down the walls around your heart.
Yeah. And so when we talk about empowering yourself, right, because whether we know it or not, there's pieces of us that are stuck in the past. You know, if there is blocks and resistance and walls and struggles, I mean, like if you're on medication, if you're drinking alcohol, if you're smoking weed every day, all day, I mean, that's a really clear indication that you're not paying attention to your emotional life, that you're likely numbing. And again, it's out of safety, right? So it's really important for us to know that we built these walls to protect ourselves, and they served an immense purpose. And the trauma that you've already endured already has happened. You just haven't had the ability to move through the feelings that you couldn't feel because you weren't safe when you were younger. And so what is it like to actually reclaim that so that you're not constantly living in the victim? I'd be curious to hear how that went for you.
Well, and a couple things, and I love that you said daily weed smoking, alcohol, these things that allow us to numb ourselves so we don't have to face ourselves. I feel like the management of symptoms, even in the medicinal marijuana industry, is us simply giving away our power every single day. If I'm managing, I'm just staying at the status quo, I'm not healing. But for me, and thank you for asking, for me, it was 14 years in an emotionally abusive marriage. And then later, determining, here we go, this is tough, this was so hard for me to hear. Drama was my drug of choice. Drama to me was the same as daily weed smoking. Drama to me was the same as alcohol. As drugs, it was the same. Drama for me was a heroin needle sticking out of my arm, ensuring that I got my daily dose of distraction from what was truly hurting on the inside.
Now, it's really important too, like managing is important. right? When we're being 100% honest of learning how to regulate the body, the nervous system, all of that is very important, especially when you start letting spirit lead and you're taking your walls down. We're not saying that that's not important or that's not valuable. We're saying when we use it to live there, when we want to stay there, and we're all doing our best, you guys. We absolutely are all doing our best. And these little seeds of truth, just based on our experience. We're not saying that this is everyone's truth or everyone's life. Please, like, a lot of times I feel like people hear that, but that when we hear that, we're also hearing our own resistance, right? Because we're triggered by maybe some stuff that we're saying, and that's okay. Like, we're not here to tell you your way.
We're the first people to say our way doesn't work for everybody. Our ways are two separate ways. You know, we recognize that we are not by any means the absolute truth, and that there are a million ways to do this work. But this work is moving into personal power. This work is the work of empowerment, of going into my childhood and taking back my power by being the safety and the love that I didn't have for myself. So people can resist going back to childhood because that's their victimhood, but in fact, that is their resistance and their fear that's keeping them from going back to their childhood, and a misunderstanding. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
There aren't books out there that talk this talk. We've looked. We needed them. We looked for YouTube videos. We looked for books. We looked for classes. They don't fucking exist. So what we do is different. It's very, very different. But we can tell you, in the hippie compound where we are not lovers and we live on opposite sides of the house, we are creating heaven on earth. It is so peaceful in our world. And we say this all the time when we teach face-to-face. We tell people, we're like, look, here's what we're going for. We're not going for big money. We're not going for any of those things. We're going for the fact that we are going to 24/7 live on heaven and earth. We're almost there. Like, we live in an amazing space most of the time. We don't want to live there alone. We want other people to come to heaven on earth with us. And how do you do that? You go back and take back your power in your
really
childhood.
not, like, if we're honest, it's really not going back, right? So all time is multidimensional, and our construct or understanding of time, we often try and understand it linear because that's just the way the brain
Human brain,
sometimes can
we love
wrap
that
around
shit.
it. Yeah. But it's not. So what happened to you at 4 or 5, whether you're conscious of it or not, is happening to you now. It's showing up in your job, in your relationships, in your friendships, in your bank account, in your parenting, in your, the
Opportunities to be creative.
or lack thereof.
These are the blocks of not having any power as a child, of putting those walls around your heart.
Not being able to be seen, not using your voice, not standing up in your boundaries, not being able to follow what feels good. Let me hurry up and get the day over. Oh, let me hurry up and get the next week over. Let me hurry and get to the weekend.
The frenzy.
Let me hurry.
Frenzy. The frenzy that we created in our childhood because there were things for the majority of people on the planet that we just wanted to be over.
And let me hurry up and do my next ceremony. Let me hurry up and get more medicine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a frenzy at the core of the noise on this planet.
Yeah, your body's always inviting you to what's happening now. The pieces and parts of you that aren't being acknowledged now, right? That aren't integrated now, that aren't empowered now, are alive in you, conscious or not.
And I love that you said that, because in my journey, we have very different journeys. We all have very different journeys. I started off my journey, watching the YouTube videos and reading the books and all that good stuff. And the self-help industry, it's like a $13 billion industry.
It's crazy. I need to I mean, like, I was at work one time and this one guy was like, you should write a book called Yo Help Yourself. I was like, that's actually fun.
Well, and if we all move into heaven on earth, there is no self-help industry. So the self-help industry and the pharmaceutical industry have the same goal: to keep us sick, to keep us needing them. And so in my own process of breaking away, I started with the books, about how to be present right here, right now. And you buy the book in the bookstore, you're freaking really excited about that, right? Finally, I found the missing link. I am going to live in the now. And you read the book and you're like fucking taking notes, right? Oh, this shit is so good. You're writing it down. You're super excited. And you get to the end of the book and you're still not living in the now.
It takes, and I love that you bring this up, because I was like in the shower, literally like going through how much energy it takes for us to live in the now, like conscious energy, right? Incredible amount of life force, you guys. So much so that it's nearly impossible for us to live 100% conscious, like every day, all day long, to be in the now. We're gonna be pulled into the future and we're gonna be pulled into the past, because there's still pieces and parts of us that live there. And so bringing that here. And Chris, you've mentioned like before, like how much energy does it take for us to stay in resistance or hold up our walls?
A ton, every bit. You want to know what adrenal fatigue is? Adrenal fatigue is keeping up your walls. You want to know why you're exhausted all day, every day, even when all you've done is hang on your iPad in bed for the day? It's because holding up the dam of pushing back the past takes every ounce of energy you have. And here's the cool thing, and this is my experience. Living in the now is effortless when you clear the channel. And part of clearing the channel is going back and addressing what wasn't addressed as a child. Living in the now is a stillness. It's a quiet. It's a presence. And the super cool thing about living in the now is that when you live in the now, and the more you practice living in the now, 'cause it's like bowling, like you got to practice this shit to get good at it. You don't just, you're not just a great liver in the now automatically. You got to practice. Once you practice it and you get really good at it, like bowling, you're bowling a 300 game, it takes effort to not live in the now. And that is the sweet spot.
I love that. That's awesome. Let's all breathe into that. 'Cause that was quite intoxicating. I feel like if you get nothing from these videos, I get a lot. Because I go back and watch them. I'm quite amused by myself, I have to say. Like,
I'm
if
amused
you're
by
not,
you too. For the record, you're so amusing.
So I appreciate like my design, maybe if I picked this, yay. If I didn't, yay. like I don't care. I don't know. Right? That's the beauty part of life.
Yeah.
It's mysterious and
it should be fun.
Yeah, so let's connect and empower ourselves and each other and lift each other up. And if you got nothing from today's video, hopefully it's just a remembering of the pieces that are calling out, begging for your love and attention, acknowledgement, just to be heard and seen.
To be kept safe and to be purely unconditionally loved.
We want so much connection out here, you guys. It's just when I started doing this work deeper, and I did it many, many years ago, that helped take down like 1.5 wall, but I still had like a fortress around it. And like I was like, you can come in this door. This door is available to you. Maybe a little window over here, but like still had like quite a bit of the back end of the fortress there. And yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying to that, but you can feel it. You can, like whether you're aware or not, I'm like, you can feel it. Like you can feel it, guys.
And I love that you said that, and it's another one of those self-help industry things about living in oneness. Nobody says you can't live in oneness outside of you if you're still separate inside of you.
And our trauma walls are separation consciousness.
Not going back to your childhood, not taking back your power, leaving those pieces and parts of yourself separate, pushed aside, and alone, they will keep you from being in oneness.
And this is what many in the spiritual community become. They are just messengers, but they are not able to embody and live and walk their message. And we're moving into an age and a time and an energy that is no more. Yeah. That is dying, a slow, painful death.
It's being revealed.
Yes.
In so many ways that are excruciating for so many.
Yeah.
And I want my experience to be gentle, graceful, and peaceful.
And fun. And filled with freedom.
Yes.
And
freedom and
juiciness.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Orgasmic, spirit-led bliss.
Wait, what?
What?
Yes, I call it my blissfully orgasmic life.
Yes. I feel like that must be the name of her next book. Or I'm saying next, like she's got one already written. I love it. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed today, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments. Put them below. It kind of is what inspires us to jump on and do these videos. And so far, the one time we did a few in the groups before, it seemed like there was a really great response. So, love you. See you soon.